What is up, YouTube? This is something a little different. First off, I just want to get a shout out to Film Insight. Been subscribed to this man's channel for a while. He does these excellent videos talking about some reality shows, Bar Rescue, Hell's Kitchen, Kitchen Nightmares, stuff like that. And I can't lie, I love these kind of shows. So I figure, hey, let's do a reaction. If I get copyright claimed, whatever, cool. Like I said, check out Film Insight. Let's just watch this video. Jon Taffer got pissed off on Bar Rescue. Now, if you guys don't know who Jon Taffer is, Jon Taffer is a man who is in what you would call, I guess technically it'd be like the hosting business or something like that. Basically the bar business. And Jon Taffer, the show, if you think it's like, if watching this, you're like, man, this sounds a lot like, freaking Hell's Kitchen, or not Hell's Kitchen, Kitchen Nightmares. It is kind of the same general concept. Just Jon Taffer, he does not hold back. And I am making sure that it's played through my headset, not my speakers, because that would be a terrible experience for you guys. So let's get into it.
These are the times that Jon Taffer lost his mind on Bar Rescue. And this owner was so reckless that Taffer had to make a scene. In season 4, Taffer visited Ciravello's bar in Long Beach, California, which was owned by Danny Harris.
For the record, a lot of these bars are terrible. Like, I would not step in on. I think a lot of them are closed too. Like, Kitchen Nightmares and freaking Bar Rescue have that same thing where it's like a lot of these people aren't around. In fact, Bar Rescue was actually here in where I live in Everett, Washington, for one episode. I think the place was called the Forbidden Door or something like that. It's closed now. It's been closed for a while. In fact, I've heard one rumor that the owner of the building, they're probably going to try to sell it off to someone else.
Back in the day, the bar was his favorite hangout, so when it went on the market, he bought it. However, Danny couldn't buy the bar by himself.
Rule number 1 of owning a bar. Don't think you could own a bar just because you like going to a bar. There's a huge difference between owning something and going to it and enjoying it. You know, it's like running a video game company. You think, oh, it's going to be all fun. We can make video games. But you don't realize, like, the work that goes into making that game. You know, the work that goes into running that company just so that people's paychecks are paid.
So he got 3 investors for the bar, Justin and Val Allen, as well as Marcus Rosenthal. They all put in $50,000 each, making them majority owners. As for Danny, he invested $111,000 into the bar, but only owned 40% of it. Now, the 3 investors only put in their money because they loved Danny. They also saw the bar as an opportunity.
Doesn't it sound like a con? It sounds like a con. Like, the guy, he basically looked at these 300 people and said, oh, these are piggy banks. But they own majority shares in that bar. So, legally speaking, they could kick him out and they don't have to pay him shit. I think they would have to try to buy his shares from him. But, honestly, the shares would probably be, or shares or profits or whatever you call it, the investment, would be so pathetic it wouldn't be worth it.
Need to make some income and, of course, have some fun. Little did Danny know that buying the bar meant giving his full commitment. Danny thought that owning a...
Rule number 1, never open a business that you like I said before, you never open a bar just because you think it looks fun. It's not. It's a whole different thing.
Bar just meant handing out good food and drinks. Well, he forgot about the maintenance part of it. Soon enough, the bar was in dire need of repairs, but Danny didn't have enough money to fix it.
We're struggling on money.
With time, the clientele started looking for better options in the neighborhood. Because, well, who likes a shabby bar anyway? A few months in, the situation was looking very grim.
I mean, a few months in, if you're looking around and you're seeing the problems that I'm seeing, yeah, I'd be thinking about pulling my money. Period. I'd be like, yo, I'm probably not getting my money back. Just get me the fuck out of this before it gets even worse.
At the time of filming, the bar was $375,000 in debt and was consistently losing $12,000 to $15,000 a month.
Wow.
And trust me, that's no joke. The bar had 4 months left before they would have to forcibly close down, so Danny reached out to Taffer for some help. In this episode, Taffer brought in his expert chef Brendan Collins and mixologist Lisa Marie Joyce to help rescue the bar. But before they made an appearance, Taffer's wife Nicole and her friend Ashley went undercover. They would give
Oh, dude. Poor Nicole. I have seen this girl go into bars and she's like, no, I will not let my wife anywhere near. No, let's go in. Poor Jon Taffer must. He must, she must have pissed him off one day. He was like, "Baby, you're gonna be bar rescue." I'm kidding. It was like, just remember, they ever get in a fight, she'll like, "Hey, check out this place for me."
Taffer some much-needed insight about the service. Once seated at the counter, Nicole ordered a whiskey sour and Ashley got an old-fashioned. When they received their drinks, both drinks looked disgusting. And when the ladies made the other bartender remake their drinks, whatever they were served was still awful.
One bartender made a drink. Literally 5 minutes later, another bartender...
Look at that! How? Listen, I don't drink much. In fact, I don't drink at all. I've been 3 years sober. But when I hit the bars, you have to be consistent. Like, this one's even got a fucking cherry in there. I don't see no cherry in here. How is this so clear and this is so murky? How?
remade the drinks and they look completely different.
Nicole also ordered everything from the menu to find out how good the food
God,
was.
I love it when they
However,
do that
the meals
because
they received were as
dude, every time one of these shows someone does that, they get pissed off. The fucking the chef gets pissed off, the owner gets pissed off. Like, I think I just saw one episode where they did that, and the owner was like, "Are you even fucking paying for these?" Like, there was an episode, I remember this very well, or at least somewhat well. There was an episode where they order everything on the menu, and the person, says, "Hey, man, you gotta pay for all this stuff first." Like, I've never heard of that in any food service industry. Hey, you gotta pay for the food before you get it. Like, you always pay after. But I think it's because there's so much. It's like, we don't think you're actually gonna eat this shit. We don't think you're gonna pay for it. So I kind of see why.
Terrible as the drinks.
Oh, dude! No. Why is it so wet? Why is there so much grease?
Every dish was so full of grease that it made the entire dish slimy.
Dude, look at her fucking hand! That's my touching on fucking pretzel. A pretzel should not be that fucking greasy!
At this point, Taffer had seen enough and decided to confront the owner. Upon meeting him, Taffer believed that Danny was inconsistent. When Taffer showed the pasta dish to Danny, the owner was well aware of the issues, which made Taffer furious. And why wouldn't he be?
If you know there's a problem, why aren't you trying to fix it? Hey man, the car won't start. Hey, you think about fixing it? Why would I do that?
And say to yourself, this isn't right. And then you brought it out anyway.
Danny knew exactly how the dish was cooked and still decided to serve it to the customers. How could he be this obtuse? But despite seeing Taffer's point, Danny didn't seem to care at all. It actually looked like he was smiling and passing it off as a small mistake. Taffer, however, was disappointed. He did send in his wife after all, and this is how she was being treated. It was Danny's duty to fix these problems,
Dude,
but
oh my god, just look at what she bit into.
after all, and this is how she was.
Look at that. No. Too much green, too much tomatoes. I don't know what that's supposed to be. That's supposed to be like a taco.
It was Danny's duty to fix these problems, but he was very much a part of them. Even though Justin, Val, and Marcus owned 60% of the business, they were just remote investors. On site, it was only Danny who screwed up the business. Taffer was baffled why the investors, who owned a majority of the business, never did something about it. And when he questioned them, none of them had a word to say.
You guys own 60% of this business. You control it.
Already fed up with the situation, Taffer suggested that the owners consider doing a hostile takeover.
Yeah, I would.
But soon after, Danny laughed off the suggestion as if it were a joke. This infuriated the bar genius. When
Look
Taffer
at
asked
Jon
him what was so
Taffer's
funny
face.
about it,
He's thinking
Danny said something
Jon Taffer's face of, "Motherfucker, are you laughing at me right now?" Hey man, I see some ballsy motherfuckers on this show. But if you laugh at Jon Taffer when he's pissed off, fists are gonna fly.
Absolutely pathetic.
You guys think you're acting kind of a little crazy.
Taffer, however, tried to keep his cool because Danny wasn't making any sense anymore. Taffer then explained to Danny that he was only trying to get through to him since the investors couldn't. Instead of just understanding the situation, Danny was so
I agree that the yelling's not necessary, but it's like, how do you get through a child? You don't just tell a kid, hey, you did wrong. You did wrong. You don't do that. You have to get the point across. You have to let them know, like, you fucked up. You made a mistake. Yes, you're an adult. This Danny guy's an adult. But you fucked up so bad, this could actually get someone sick. Undercooked food could get someone seriously sick. Food is, put in the wrong kind of storage, could also get someone seriously sick. Trust me, food could get you sick very easy. But the one after this is why I want to do this whole reaction. Because that one, everything is wrong. But we'll get to that.
stubborn that he shamelessly told Taffer that he was tuning him out. The famous rescuer was so pissed that he tried one last time to make Danny understand by saying,
Your bar sucks, and you're gonna stand there and defend it in front of him?
Taffer was annoyed with the way that Danny was defending himself. The owner actually began to attack Taffer for his methods. He even told the bar genius that the tactics he was using were up. Taffer couldn't believe how arrogant and irresponsible Danny was. He was completely repulsed with Danny's behavior. And what's more, Nicole would probably get sick because of the disgusting food she just ate. But Danny could care less. He didn't even care about the customers who might go home sick after dining at his
the bartender's face. Yo, I gotta get a
He could care
re-look at that.
less. He didn't even
She's like, fuck, we're screwed.
care about the customers who might go home sick
Yikes.
after dining at his bar. And that was unacceptable. Danny could lose all the money that he wanted, but he could put someone's life at risk. And to make sure that everyone got his point, this is what Taffer did.
You get people sick? That is unacceptable. Clean up your...
Now, Danny not only had to repair the bar, but also get new cutlery. But in this next bar, Taffer was so mad that he didn't want to spend 1 second more in the kitchen. In Season 3, Taffer visited Fairways Golf Bar and Grill in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
This episode is legendary. And you're about to find out why.
Richard Jordan had bought the bar after being in the finance sector for 10 years. He had no idea how to run a bar, but the idea of owning one fascinated
What's the common thread you guys are starting to see? They don't know how to run a bar, but they know how to drink. So they think they can open a bar. It's like, oh my god, you fucking morons. You know, I remember like my cousin at one point. This is for real. He was like, man, we should open our own bar. The minute he said that, I'm like, you cannot run a bar if it was a fucking bath. You could not run a bath named bar. Because like, it literally is like, the bar business and the restaurant industry, they are some of the hardest industries to get into, period. Most restaurants, after 2 years, I think it's actually even a year, they shut down if they don't have a great first year. So I don't think it's always the case, but there's a lot of places that I know for a fact that, like, you know, there was a restaurant there a couple of years ago, and now it's all suddenly gone. Because people think, oh, it's just easy to open a bar at a fucking restaurant, but it's like, no, it's not. The restaurant industry is infamously hard to get into. It is even harder to make a profit in. You can make a profit, but it's a matter of keeping that profit consistent.
him. He came up with weird stuff to make it work, but sadly, none of it helped the business. When I say weird, I mean this $40,000 golf simulator. But did it help draw in more customers?
No.
Nope, it failed miserably. Now,
And it's actually a huge potential, it's a potential lawsuit waiting to happen. Because if a golf simulator is not put up right, because that did not look like it was right. Look at that. If there was like a really solid thing behind that screen, dude, legit, that ricochets, the ball ricochets off that, it hits someone, lawsuit. It's over. Goodbye. That's why, like, most of these places, with those golf, simulators, they have, like, really set up. It's not in a bar. It's like in its own room. It's like in its own room where it's also padded. So it's like if the ball does ricochet, it won't hit someone.
Did it help draw in more customers? Nope, it failed miserably. Now, I have no idea why he thought this was a great idea.
No,
he could
it's
have
not.
easily made better use of that money on something that could have actually helped the bar. But that wasn't the only thing. Richard also tried his hand at several other marketing strategies like bingo, but that didn't work very well. Since the business swiftly went downhill,
You're trying to open a bar, and your big idea to bring in money is bingo. Oh, there's so much wrong with that. I could get like a bingo night, but like this sounds like it's like a mainstay. No, you don't do that. Yes, when I used to go out to the bars, with my fucking family, we used to, go out and drink, and we would hang out with their girlfriends, and maybe I try to flirt with a girl. Man, the first thing I think, because really, every bar had was fucking bingo.
Richard had to return to his old job just to keep things running. While
Yep,
he got
you
some
failed.
money, he handed the responsibility of managing the bar to Michelle. Even though he left her to look after the bar, Richard hardly allowed her to do what she needed effectively. Kevin, the cook, who was Richard's friend, neither cared about the cooking nor the cleaning. Thanks to the poor management, Richard was $150,000 in debt.
Wow!
When Taffer arrived, he surveyed the bar with health inspector Steve Blavat. And they noticed that the ceiling was covered in grease and leaky pipes. Expert chef Brian Duffy and mixologist Phil Wills stepped in as Taffer's spies. And they ordered everything from the menu, including 7 drinks to gauge the staff and their service. While most chefs would get to work upon receiving an order, Kevin started laughing after seeing the long receipt. Meanwhile, Chef Brian and Phil were served their drinks on time, but the drink came with a special garnish of flies.
There are bugs in the bar, too.
But that was just the beginning.
Health code violation. Oh, by the way, if you think the reason why it looks weird at times, it's because the guy probably mirrors the video to avoid copyright. Right there, health code violation. If there are any bugs in that bar, you're supposed to get rid of them as soon as possible. Oh God. If this guy with Jon Taffer, he wanted to be a dick, he could have just came in there and said, hey man, I'm shutting this shit down. Period. And not for the bugs. Oh, no. You're going to see why soon.
Since the horror show had yet to come. When Phil received his beer, it was served in a frosty mug and it was only half full.
What?
To make matters worse, when Phil tasted it, the beer had a peculiar metallic taste.
Right when it hit the bottom of my stomach, I knew something was wrong.
Meanwhile, an even more terrifying scene was taking place in the kitchen. Kevin was seen committing a series of health code violations, and Steve was bewildered by how Kevin lasted this long. Kevin didn't even bother washing his hands at all. He was seen working with raw pork, then switching over to beef using the same bare hands. He didn't give a damn about cross-contamination. He probably didn't even know what it meant to maintain sanitary conditions.
You know how many of these fucking episodes I've seen where these people cross-contaminate everything? From simple stuff like, you're always... I don't think you're supposed to wash your hands all the time. But you're supposed to wash your hands when you're dealing with raw meat and you're dealing with basically anything dirty. That's just the rule of thumb. Raw product and dishes, stuff like that. Just dirt in general. I can tell you by looking at this fucking bar, this place has never been cleaned. So yeah, maybe this is the one occasion where the guy has to wash his hands all the time. And also, he's touching pork, bacon, with his bare hands. Major health code violation. You'd be shut down right there on the spot. That guy would have to go, he would have his food handler's permit revoked. He would be told to take it again in a couple months. And they might not even pass him then. I don't know if every state has a food handler's permit program, but I know in Washington here, we have one. The work in the food service industry, like at any capacity, you have to have one. And the first thing they teach you is wash your hands, wear gloves when you're dealing with food. Simple shit. Simple shit. Anyone should know. And most importantly, when you're cooking food, what do you not do, folks? You don't go touch pork and beef. That's cross-contamination. Pork has germs that beef doesn't. And if you're touching pork and then touching beef, you're putting the germs that are on the freaking pork onto the meat, the beef.
In the kitchen. To make matters worse, he used a dirty charred bowl to cover the burgers.
Oh my god!
My heart goes out to the customers who were eating there that night. They have no idea what was going on there. Despite all the shabby work it took.
And he's cooking the bacon and the fucking burger on the same grill. The grease moves, you fucking moron! You are cooking the grease! I guarantee they open that fucking grease trap, it's gonna be like blech.
29 minutes for the experts to receive their orders, and they only received a few of them. Right down to the chips and salsa to the fried mushrooms, none of it was good. The burger was so undercooked that you could actually see the blood oozing out from it.
Oh!
And remember how Phil was talking?
Oh! God, no! No! Did it actually get sick? Oh God, Phil, you know that ain't gonna end well.
Talking about the weird tasting beer? Well, he had to get it out of his system.
Oh my God, he threw up.
By now, Taffer and Steve had seen enough and barged into the bar
They
before
shut
more
down right
customers
there
got
if
sick.
Phil's on
Taffer
duty.
first confronted Richard about the bar's terrible practices and about Phil getting sick. It was then discovered that the beer served to Phil had expired, and Michelle had no idea about it. When she
You served expired beer! Dude, fuck the health code violation for a second. Major one, by the way. Big one. If you would have served me expired beer, I would have reached over to that fucking guy. I would have found that guy, and I would have fucking decked him in the face. Are you trying to fucking kill me, asshole? A little aggressive. I apologize for that, but that really fucks with your stomach. You guys ever drink like dry beer, like beer you've had out for a while? You know, like let's say this happened to me, so I guess a little bit of story time. I was drinking pretty heavily, and the morning I woke up, I had a beer right next to me. I took a sip of it. It was a dry beer. It was also, I guess you would say old. It's like a night old. I got so sick that day, I thought I was going to puke out my stomach. That's what just, not even like a full day old beer did to me. Imagine an expired beer.
Chef Brian pointed out that the fried mushroom had dirt on the bottom of it, Richard
What?
and Michelle were in denial about it. To prove his point, Taffer headed into the kitchen with Chef Brian and Steve for a quick inspection. Once there, the first thing Taffer did was make Kevin taste the salsa, and this is how he reacted.
What do you think about that? Tastes like it's bubbling.
From a fryer that was incredibly greasy to splashes of food all over the kitchen floor, it was clear that this kitchen hadn't been cleaned for years. Taffer then found 3 huge containers of raw meat sitting on the counter. And when they checked what the temperature was at, this is what happened.
68.7 degrees.
That's cooking! The meat is literally cooking just by sitting there. Oh my god. No. This guy, blacklist him from every fucking restaurant. Don't even let him be a fucking customer.
Throw it out. Good job.
Yeah.
When Taffer and his experts checked the walk-in fridge out, it was even more horrifying. There was mold everywhere, which isn't only hazardous to the customers, but also the people who use it as well. And Taffer only had one thing to say.
Get out of here!
But just then, Chef Brian spotted something. And you won't believe what it was. Forget mold, you would have never seen this in any other walk-in before.
Look at this!
Oh my god.
You don't
Oh, I got. Oh my god. There's fucking mushrooms growing! Fungus! In the refrigerator! Ooh. I'm not exaggerating. When it sounds like I'm about to throw up. I felt something coming up. I just got done eating too, so I'm trying to keep it down.
want to be breathing that stuff in.
And after seeing
Oh
this,
my
Taffer
God!
truly lost it.
Out of here!
Yeah, get the fuck out of there.
Wait, didn't the experts order fried mushrooms earlier? I really hope Kevin didn't use these. If you thought that this was Taffer's craziest outburst, then wait till you see this next one where words made no difference, so Taffer had to use his fists. In Season 3, Taffer visited Zanzibar in Denver, Colorado. Owned by Amy Benari, this bar was opened in 2009. Amy immigrated to Denver, Colorado after completing his service in the Israeli army. The bar became quite famous since it was one of the first bars in downtown Denver. Zanzibar initially made around $38,000 a month, but in 2011, after a near-fatal car accident, Amy stayed away from the bar. The lack of supervision enabled the staff to misbehave with the customers, which led to the eventual decline of the bar. At the time of filming, Amy returned to the bar 6 months prior and fired the entire old staff. He then hired new ones in hopes of bringing back the customers. But as Eleanor Roosevelt said, true hospitality consists of giving the best of yourself to your guests. And the old staff of Zanzibar failed to give this necessary hospitality, causing lasting damage. Amy lost $2,000 to $3,000 a month and was close to losing the business after 6 months. Amy began to run his staff with an iron fist and invested around $250,000 into the establishment. Denver, Colorado's downtown district is home to college students who often look for lively party atmospheres. The new restaurants in the neighborhood flourished since they had what the young crowd was looking for. Later on, Taffer brought in 2 recent college graduates, Cameo and Nick, to survey the bar. What's more, he brought in
It's just taller than him. Okay. If there's ever a piece of advice you should learn from the show, be willing to change with the times. If the location's changing, you need to change with it. Simple as that. A lot of these places I notice, they either try to be hip and cool and they fail at it, or they try to stay to their old fucking ways and absolutely fail at that too.
Expert bartender Jenny Costa and expert chef Duffy to get some insight. When they arrived at the
Poor
bar,
Brian.
Amy was seen yelling free beer, which is a really dumb move.
What?
Especially considering how much the bar was losing, but Amy was desperate to get customers. As Nick and Cameo sat at the bar,
They're not customers if you're giving them a free beer. Oh, hey, free beer? Okay, I'll go in there. Okay, here's your free beer. Oh, thank you, buddy. Hang out there for a couple minutes. Well, I gotta go now. I just came here for the free beer. Well, hey, man, don't you want to eat something? Don't you want our beer? Yeah, well, I wanted the free beer. Thanks for that, but I gotta go now. Technically, by the way, I think in the state of Washington, if you live in the state of Washington and you serve someone beer, and I think that's actually just a law in general, and they leave the place visibly intoxicated, you're legally obligated for what they do. You're actually legally obligated to call them a taxi or something to get them back home or where they need to go safely.
none of the bartenders paid attention to them. They were also pestered by a drunken customer who made Cameo
This guy is the worst. Not this guy. This guy's cool. This guy. I remember this one in particular.
incredibly uncomfortable. Instead of just making the customer leave the bar, one of the bartenders gave the customer more drinks. Anyway,
Why?
the drinks that Nick and Cameo received had way too much alcohol. What's more, the food that they ordered was delivered by the kitchen staff, who seemed to have no idea about health code violations. This man had the same gloves, touched other patrons, and sneezed on it too. Ew. Seeing this, he stepped in and gave away free champagne shots, which cost him 6 entire bottles.
Dude, no wonder you're losing money. You're giving it away. Great for the customer. Shit for business. How the hell has he been in the bar business for so long and learned a key thing? Don't give away free alcohol. Maybe you could give away discounted alcohol. Maybe you could give away, happy hour, stuff like that. But never just give the shit away. And if you're leading this guy, this one guy they showed, leave visibly intoxicated to the point he's a danger to himself, you're in trouble. Especially if the police catch wind of it. Police will be like, you overserved him. You are not allowed to overserve anyone. No matter what. If you are so drunk you can't stand up, no joke, like I said before, they actually have to make sure you get home safe. Or at least leave the bar safe.
I don't have to tell you how expensive champagne is.
Very expensive.
That's insane. Taffer then entered and found 2 hammered customers, which pissed him off a lot.
When we're irresponsible and we hurt people, I get angry.
He then walked into the kitchen and lectured them about cross-contamination and made them throw out everything. Taffer scolded the staff for allowing the customers to get so wasted that they couldn't walk or even passed out. He ordered them to wash the place out clean, which was his only condition to help the bar out. The next day, Taffer came to a cleaner bar and met with the staff, asking them about their positions. Sarah said that she was the bar manager, but not the official manager. It was clear to Taffer that Amy didn't listen to his staff. Then, a very disturbing revelation was made about Amy. Amy offered free sex to the customers. What the actual was made about Amy. Amy offered free sex to the customers. What the actual hell? And Taffer couldn't help but berate him for this. But what's even worse is that in 2 days' time, Amy had given away almost $2,500 worth of free alcohol. After listening to this, Amy furiously started throwing plates at the wall. I really don't know how this was
jackass, you would break all the plates you want, but here's the thing, you gotta replace them.
supposed to help anything, but whatever. Taffer then brought in his experts. Jenny helped the bartenders improve their pouring techniques by blindfolding them to get them used to pouring properly. Then Chef Brian made Chef Dave cook the top 3 dishes at the bar. Before the stress test, Taffer announced that he wanted the ticket time to be 12 minutes. As the bar opened, Taffer brought in the
12 minutes for a burger. It should be easy to do. God, I think even like 10 minutes. It's 5 on one side, 5 on the other. I remember that someone told me that when I was a kid or something. Like, if cook 5 minutes on one side, flip it, then cook on 5 minutes on that side, then it should be done. But it has to be like 5 exact minutes, maybe a little bit. You could be like a couple seconds over, but yeah. By the way, the whole free, it's hard to tell what he said, the censor, but I'm pretty sure it's free sex. And if that's the case, yeah, that's very much, you can get in a lot of legal trouble with that. Technically, that could count as prostitution.
So, how did it go? The stress test was a massive failure.
Yep.
The bartenders were still overpouring, were very disorganized, and also mixed up tables. On top of that, no one was getting the dirty glasses, and they soon ran out of clean ones. And guess who was the biggest disaster of them all? Amy. So this is what Taffer did next.
Does everybody know what a show is?
Yes, here.
With that, Taffer shut the bar down for the night. He then told the customers to return in 3 days after the bar was revamped. When Taffer called out Amy and yelled "shame on you" at him, all the owner did was just nod with a smug smile. But that doesn't mean he wasn't pissed. Take a look at what Amy had to say.
Jon doesn't know what he's dealing with. You think I'm gonna lay down and take it?
After closing the bar, Taffer had another meeting with the staff. He told them about how disappointed he was with them, and more so with Amy. And that's when all hell broke loose.
This is the night you show me how you are.
Absolutely not.
Both men were equally fired up, and none of them were willing to back down. Amy went on and on about how he was humiliated in front of the customers.
Good.
And Taffer couldn't believe that after all that, Amy was still concerned about his ego and nothing else. Taffer then asked Sarah if he was unreasonable, and Sarah, without any hesitation, responded with a big no. And seeing the plight of the staff, Taffer said,
It's all about his ego, Mr. Entertainer. How about them?
Taffer was infuriated with Amy's attitude, and what bothered him more is that Amy considered his staff as immature kids. Hearing this, the bar genius told Amy that he would never succeed if he didn't believe in his staff. Amy then started to rant on how to do business. But Taffer wasn't here for the lessons.
Nope.
While he tried his best to ignore Amy's arrogance, what Amy said next was extremely disrespectful and rude. When Chef Brian tried to explain the dire situation in the kitchen, Amy bluntly called him a fat boy. Amy began to body shame and everyone was shocked. Things escalated from then on into what might be one of the biggest fights in the history of bar rescue. There was no way Taffer would tolerate someone being so vile to an expert who just came to save his business. So these were the times that Jon Taffer lost his mind on bar rescue.
Yeah.
Thankfully, after all the drama that unfolded at Zanzibar, it looks like Taffer's efforts actually paid off. It is one of the very few bars that's still up and running to this very day.
Wow.
But I'll always remember it as the most dramatic episode to have ever been aired on the show. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, give this guy a shout out. That was a lot of hard work, I can guarantee, putting all that footage together. So yeah, this is just something, you know, I'll be every once in a while I'll do, just because I get bored. Why not? Until next time, guys, this is that PlayStation Gamer. Like I said, check out Film Insight and make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all the YouTube algorithm BS. Peace out, and have a good day.